Hello everyone, my name is Lowko, and welcome to a best of 3 series of top level StarCraft 2. Today we find ourselves in game number 1 on a map called At Eternity's Edge. Wait a second, hold up. At Eternity's Edge. I don't know. Is it Celestial Enclave? Or is it... It sounds relatively celestial to me. Either way, spotting right here. Representing himself, I think, on the main hatchery. I'm actually not familiar with that portrait, but it looks awesome. We're looking inside of the main base of SHIN, who decided to rename himself back to Ragnarok after the team league where he hung out with some of the old CJ Entis guys. His opponent, spotting in the bottom right, not changing his username to one of his personal favorites. He used to apparently play the ladder under the username of Excrement. We're not doing that anymore, however. He's better known as ByuN. I wish I was joking. Anyways, this map is very interesting because it's huge. It's absolutely massive. What I really like about it, I'm just going to immediately go down to the bottom left-hand corner, is this one shared base in the far bottom left. I feel like this is a feature that we should have on more maps because it creates so much late-game drama. There's a ton of bases, though. I think this map has like 8, maybe 7 bases per player. I can't count that far. But there is that one shared expansion in the far bottom left that you can definitely expect in like a long drawn-out game of Terran versus Zerg especially, for both players to really want to acquire. In Protoss versus Terran is really mostly Protoss that can go ahead and take it, and really the same in Zerg versus Protoss. I think this is a tough map, or a tough base in general for Protoss to acquire. Against Zerg at the very least. But in this matchup, I think both Terran as well as Zerg equally want to have those golden minerals. It's going to take a while for ByuN to be able to expand in that direction. But if the game goes long enough, we might just see a fight for the absolute last minerals. By the way, there should probably be a character limit as well on the amount of... I think once you take off the TOMC tag and then you add LE to it, it will just barely fit above the minimap. But there is a chance that if you add like, if the name would be too long, it probably wouldn't fit. That's a problem too. Anyways, first Reaper has now made its way across the map. Of course, this particular series is played on the brand new maps from the Team Liquid map contest finalists. In case you have missed it, this is from an ongoing tournament where, well, we have pro gamers playing on the finalists of the map contest. There's currently 16 maps in the running for the next upcoming map pool. Sadly for us, not all of them are going to be able to make it onto the ladder eventually. I would imagine anywhere between like 6 to 9 maps will ultimately be swapped out. Maybe we'll keep a couple from the current season of StarCraft 2, but... there is certainly a chance that we are just going to see all 9 of them swapped out for brand new ones. And I think it's very doable. Honestly, after casting and watching a whole lot of games on the new maps so far, they're all excellent. We've come a long way from the early iterations of the TOMC. I don't really see any of them right now that have looked problematic. Now, admittedly, I haven't seen all the maps just yet, and I'm sure there's a couple of bugs here and there that need to be fixed. But they all seem perfectly playable. SHIN over here, opting to go for a very quick Roach Warren together with a gas. Second gas right now, inside of the natural expansion. He's decided to begin this game with a gasless triple hatch opener. Opting to skip out on the Zerking speed here early on. And just going straight into Roaches together with an Evo chamber. I find this, especially on new maps, to be rather ambitious. I'm not sure what the rush distance is on this map. It could be that this map is like, I don't know, like a 35, 36 seconder or so. Which would be the distance from natural ramp to natural ramp for a worker. Some maps are significantly shorter than that. So we've had maps historically that are down to like maybe like 30 seconds or so. Anyways, long story short, it basically means that you can send units across the map and arrive way earlier. Even though it's only a few seconds here and there. If you're going for some sort of aggressive push, especially as Terran, it really does add up very quickly. We have a fake cloaking upgrade here. Double tech lab. We're certainly going to be canceling that as soon as the Overlord is dead. And then we start up the good old Raven anyways. There's a bit of irony there. You don't actually need to have the research done for that particular ability. ByuN actually not going for Banshees though. Just skipping out on that Banshee upgrade, I guess it's still gonna force out a bunch of Spore Crawlers. Ragnarok, or SHIN, I should probably say, although maybe he's gonna go back to Ragnarok permanently, I don't really know. He does like playing with the Diva announcer, so if you hear the squeaky voice when I'm on his vision.
They're in your base, killing your drones.
They're in your base, killing your drones! Although he probably has the Korean voice actors, or actress rather, for Diva, which I bet you sounds way cooler. Maybe it's because I don't speak Korean that it doesn't sound so terribly cringe to me. But yeah, SHIN has really been playing with that announcer for years now. So every day when he wakes up and he boots up StarCraft, he hears the squeaky, squeaky voice. He probably watches a ton of anime too. That's my current, yeah, we're definitely running a double monitor setup, and I'm sure whilst we're doing some laddering, we're watching a ton of anime. Would not be surprised. Anyways, this is going to be a straight Roach opener. Roach speed, double research. In the meantime, ByuN has decided to go for a much more conventional approach. Triple command center, double upgrades. We already got a quick armory coming up, so we can go straight into 2-2. And if you really want to, we could also start adding on some hellbats here, but not really a necessity, because I don't think ByuN is really planning on being too aggressive just yet. Although he could if he wanted to. What's really strong about Roach-based openers is that they're great at not dying. Like, assuming you position your Roaches in the right spot, which is a problem for Zerg, because Zerg is very used to everything moving around at like 1,000,000 miles an hour. Zerglings are just so quick to reposition, but if, hypothetically speaking, Zerg players think about where they position their army, Roaches are extremely good at not dying. Now, we do use this cheeky little Raven now as a detector to get rid of some of the creep. Look at ByuN being a bit of a bully. This is the Janitor Squad. Trying to kill as many creep tumors as possible. Ragnarok, though, apparently has had enough. He's gonna test the waters for just a moment. He knows, though, that there's likely gonna be a gigantic amount of Terran waiting. ByuN already was setting up a trap. He decides to back up. We do have an Infestor actually coming in. Dude, that portrait is really badass. I like it. It's actually very common for pro gamers to as we do have a push right now coming up right over here in the bottom left. Hold that thought for just a moment. Yep, gold is not going to be taken just yet, but it's very common for pro gamers to run the different portraits of their friends and maybe their frenemies. It's quite rare, actually, for players to run their own portraits. Hero is currently running his own portrait. I know that. Ooh, what the heck? Is that the... I mean, that is obviously the Xel'Naga thing, or the hybrid thingamajig, but when is that used in any of the campaigns? That's kind of awesome. Hybrid on Ire? How could we have known? Anyways, Ultra Cavern coming up right now. Adrenal Glands as well, researching here for Ragnarok. So, even though he started off with Roaches, we are now using it as a gigantic stepping stone to get up towards, well, Ultraling Bane. So really, this is Ragnarok opening with the I don't want to die to stupid stuff build. Doesn't really roll off the tongue. Maybe we can come up with something better. But the I don't want to die to stupid stuff build is very popular. It does mean, though, that you're forced now to play the late game against ByuN, who is very fond of playing the late game. As a matter of fact, against Protoss, he's only playing late game, it seems. But against Zerg, he does like to mix in some variety, too. Now, sadly here, if you are a Roach lover, and I'm sure there's many people out there that absolutely love Roaches, especially in real life, it is about time the Roaches die. Yeah, even though they have been the backbone of the early game, the backbone of the mid game, right now they're a waste of supply, which is a bit toxic. Ooh, nice splitty over there on the anti-armor missile. But they need to be replaced. He's made a lot of them, though, into Ravagers, meaning that we actually only have 8 remaining over here. They're going to be busted on the left. What about the Fungal? Fungal into Banelings. It is spicy. ByuN not quite anticipating it. There's a backup Fungal. Now the Ultras get close, and that is good night for ByuN's army. Absolute disaster there for the Terran. He got destroyed in every way possible. Wait. Oh, no! The Ultralisk is stuck. He's remaking a Roach Warren. No! Step Ultra, go back. Maybe he's just pretending to be stuck. Oh, he wanted to check out the Nova picture for a little bit. I see. Maybe he's just pretending to be stuck. I saw a video of this girl once who, like, pretended that she was stuck. Anyways, new Roach Warren coming up and triple command center added into the mix as well for ByuN. 2-2 is just going to be done, and I'm assuming we will fire up to 3-3. In the meantime, though, the rest of the Ultras, aka the ones that aren't stuck, are going to try and go in for the counterattack. That's going to be a lot of dead SCVs, assuming we actually commit. It will indeed be the end of that mineral line, and many Ultras will likewise also fall. The Planetary! What? Oh, cool guys, don't look at explosions! Michael Bay directs movies, bro. The movies aren't real. Oh, no. Ragnarok thought he was Michael Bay there for just a moment. I mean, we do have the Zerking drop inside of the main base, but this is actually very problematic. At least he did get 18 SCVs for his troubles, but the command center lives. Let's see. Is this now a massive missed opportunity? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no, they're all stuck. There is a gigantic amount of units getting stuck in the main base. That is what's going wrong right here for Ragnarok. He is getting a great surround over here. The problem is, he is so focused on trying to micro his army that he just hasn't looked back for a while. No! Ay, 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 ay. See, this is a problem that Hero never runs into. His units never get stuck in his bases at the very least. I feel kind of bad here for Ragnarok because he's been playing some wonderful StarCraft, but he's just missing out on a few units. And he's probably wondering to himself, like, how did that actually go wrong? Like, how did that not work out better? It's because you have a significant amount of supply caught up in places that aren't useful. He's going to find out eventually. This Roach Warren needs to go. Overlord drop in the main base dies as well. Now, there could also be a bit of a mismatch here for ByuN, because ByuN obviously plays a lot of StarCraft, and he's well aware of how much a Zerg should have. So he's being a bit hesitant here. He's like, wait a second, what are you hiding right now? Like, where is this going wrong? He doesn't want to just jump in, because he's afraid he's getting baited. Oh my god. This is so bad. Ragnarok, how long has it been since you looked at your natural? Have we not injected bases in a while? So I think what happened is he was attack moving onto the Roach Warren, and then he must have all army hotkeyed. And he dragged the units off before the Ultra Cavern actually, or the Ultralisk rather, actually got the job done. 4 command centers, by the way, on the production tab right here for ByuN, who is also pushing straight through the middle. This hatch will live, similar to the Planetary on the other side. Far less committed, though. ByuN is just pushing straight through the middle of the map. Fungals are nice. You know, it'd be even nicer if there was an Ultralisk follow-up here. Oy, 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 oy. You know, maybe it's better right now for the Zerg here to not find out. Like, maybe it's actually preferable. Oh, my lord. This is so bad. Ah! There's now 5 Ultralisks stuck in... Look at Nova. Look at Nova for a little bit. Yeah, we have a Nova theater over here. Dude, there's 5 Ultralisks stuck in the main base. Apparently, Ragnarok, by the way, is no longer ever injecting his bases, or he is doing it so rapidly, because the muscle memory of programmers is ridiculous. He's doing it so quickly that he just has never really had more than like a 10th of a second on this natural. Now, of course, this is why we have the map contest. This is why we have the testing. This is something that Ragnarok will likely make a note of and then never do again. Okay, he's got to see now. He has to see. He just evacuated the drones. He uses camera hotkeys for that sort of thing, though. There we go. The boys are no longer stuck. Okay, suddenly the power mismatch here is gonna be weird. Huge power spike here for Zerg. Can he capitalize on it, though? Yeah. This is also something, though, that can just straight up, like, it's very tempting here, I think, for the Zerg player to just throw in the towel. He's gonna try and push, though. ByuN is set up really quite well. He's got a bunch of ghosts coming. He's got liberators up in the air. The fumbles are nice, but this Sim City here from ByuN is excellent. Still, though, he clearly did not expect such an influx of Ultralisks all of a sudden. Very Marine Marauder focused. Not quite the units you really need here. ByuN probably also wondering what in the world is going on. Now, lucky for us, lucky here for Ragnarok, he did open up the wall further. So at least there's nobody else getting stuck here in some time. Ultra's going to town as well on the right side of the map. Natural expansion, though, absolutely owned. And the main base is going to be next. Ultras will likely try to make their way back home, but this is messy because I don't think this is going to be easily cleaned up. Yeah, the main hive will disappear. Ragnarok has a ton of minerals in the bank, but he's unable to spend it because of the lack of larva. Losing those hatcheries really quite hurts. And as the dust settles, I think this is much more comfortable here for ByuN. Still, though, it's very playable here for Ragnarok. Like, it's a bit of a mess. ByuN's bank is not that large, but it's because he's made a big investment into so many command centers. 9 orbital commands is awesome. Like, he can skyrocket ahead. Oh, that fungal is risky, but he does kill the hatch. Nicely done here by Terran. Losing the hive is incredibly bad here for Ragnarok. He does, however, still have the Ultra Cavern. Brenda's gonna take a quick little dump inside of the main base when she still cans. Or when she still cans? Really? Nice English. Please like and subscribe, thank you. Maybe I'll be able to speak English properly one day, I don't know, who knows. While she still cans, she does get the job done, and at the very least that means that the structures over here are not going to bleed out. But this is all taking up so much time. And in the meantime, right, ByuN, he's building up a very formidable force. Yeah, Brenda, she's like everybody at the office. She saves it up, man. Like, she had 200 energy, but she saved it up. And then right when she arrived at work, yeah, you love to see it. Brenda gets paid to poop. I think the age of the Ultra is kind of over. Except that Ragnarok did not get the memo. ByuN is now fully focused on killing Ultralisks. Unless there's a fungal growth that's gonna keep the entirety of the Terran army locked down, I think ByuN has a much more well-rounded unit composition. Still, though, the army looks a little small. It's because he's got half of it caught up right now on the left side of the map, so he's just running away. In the meantime, look at this army, man. We're just pushing through. He wants to finish the job that he started in the main base. Where are we going, ByuN? He's just marching. Wait, he's just been walking through the creep. What if there's burrowed Banes? Maybe ByuN just really hates Brenda. Could be. He wants to get rid of Brenda's masterpiece. I guess I can't really blame him all too much. In the meantime, we have another Widowmine connecting over here. Oh, Ultras and Banelings ready to save Brenda's work. And it will stay alive for now. In the meantime... No, he pulled it again. Oh my god. I guess he saw the snipes coming in, but Ragnarok here, I think falling into... Ooh, another nice fungal. I think he's falling into the trap of all army hotkeying a little too much. It is a thing that many of us experience, I think, when, well, the going gets tough, right? When you're having a difficult time, you need to somehow, some way get your units to move around. Accidentally pulling it off the orbital commands and the planetaries there is super painful. My god, look at the mini-map here on the left side. For some reason, there's like a billion tumors. What happened here? Why are there so many? Why do the Ewoks have a party? They don't even have a picture of Nova anywhere. We're going back in. Yeah, not gonna happen, though. The Medivac does not die. The Corruptor does. Medivac goes in for bait. No! Alright. What a messy game. It's fun though, right? Because the players are clearly just not comfortable on the map yet. See, the new maps are making the players do what they absolutely hate. And that is think whilst they're playing the game. Ugh. Ugh, I hate thinking personally. Try to avoid it like the plague. But ByuN right now, he could have had this base up and running a while ago already. Instead decided to double planetary it up over here. Obviously, there have been a bunch of bases blown up, but I really do think we should probably be expanding again. I guess the flow of the battle is just not as smooth as it normally would be when the maps are figured out a little bit better. ByuN really is allowing Ragnarok a ridiculous amount of wiggle room, if I'm being honest. I really don't think he needs to be giving the Zerg this much space. He decides to slow progress it. Slow-gress it. Kind of feels like on this map that there's a base missing over here, right? If you look at the minimap, it kind of feels like there's a mineral line that's supposed to be in this spot. The map is diagonally mirrored, meaning that Ragnarok right now has all of the bases on his side taken, with this one right now in the bottom, and then also obviously the gold base over here in the far bottom left, but he would like to grab the golden minerals here, and this is actually turning out to be a phenomenal game. I really wonder where things would have been if Ragnarok did not get so many Ultras stuck for such a long time. Ghost will get picked up. 14 SCVs die yet again. We have an Ultralisk here going to town. Counterattack in the meantime as well here as ByuN takes out a hatchery in the middle. He wants to go after another hatchery, though, a little bit further up north. Ultra's desperately trying to run through everything. They gotta be careful they don't pass through all of the Terran bases. Plenty of Widow Mines, Siege Tanks, Planetaries, and all the rest of it as ByuN makes another command center. A literal minefield out here, too, though, as we have some really solid detonations. In the meantime, the Corruptors are taking out all of the Medivacs, making it pretty much impossible for this Terran force to retreat. Keep in mind that ByuN doesn't have a ton of actual mineral income, right? Like, he has to mine here with mules, which is pretty sweet. He can drop many of them, but he's been using a ton of the energy for scans instead. Now he's starting to drop some of them down yet again, but he only has 30 workers. I thought that the age of the Ultra was over, but apparently Ragnarok here disagrees. 28 dead Ultras. 28 dead Ultras, 3 of them out on the battlefield, 2 more coming. As far as the resources lost go, though, that is a very, very significant difference. If we look at the army size over time, ByuN is capable now of building a far bigger army because he has far less supply caught up in actual, well, SCVs, right? Ragnarok has 64 supply caught up in drones. Never really able to, go much lower than that. Right now, though, with the mules mining, you can tell on this this income graph when ByuN is dropping mules and when he isn't. He's going to be able to dip very far ahead if he wants to. But he needs to be careful because there are only so many minerals available. Base at the bottom is mining out. Dude, we are arriving now, though, at the final mineral line right over here. There is still this base up in the upper right. But other than it, the only fresh expansion is the one over here in the bottom left. Both players desperately need that base. Ragnarok, though, more desperately. Desperateur. Desperate, desperateur, desperatist. There you go. That's how English works. I would like to propose some more standardization in the English language. Good, gooder, goodest. How about that? Where does better even come from? Makes no sense. Good, better, best? Really? Come on. Let's also work on the plurals in the meantime a little bit. 1 sheep, 2 sheeps. Okay. 1 goose, 2 gooses. It's one of the main headaches when you're trying to learn English. There's no logic. There's very little of it anyways. I hurt could mean that you hurt yesterday or right now. Or are in the process off. Or used to. I don't know. Anyways, here we go. Fungal, fungal, fungal. Ooh, big fungal. Again, man, Ragnarok trying to just push through with all the ultras. The fungal growths are really allowing him so much staying power. This time around, though, ByuN does kite up towards the high ground. Oh, and you know what? He did just deny his base at the far bottom left. In the meantime, though, ByuN yet again committing to a huge counterattack. This is, I think, the third lair that this game has known. Yet again, we have a push here through the middle. Infestor, though, gets blasted by the Widow Mine. Nice movement right there by ByuN. The Stutter Step micro here is good. He's backing up right now to the safety of the Widow Mines, and that is a, well, planetary fortress joining in as well, with all of those ultras ultimately dying. It is ByuN who wins game number 1. Alrighty, game number 2. We find ourselves on the map Defender's Lab. Now, I'll be honest with you. As Ragnarok starts off a little bit of chatter, I'll be honest with you, this is the map that I looked at on the finalist page and that I was least impressed about. Maybe it had to do with the fact that it was all the way at the very bottom of the list. I think there was like one map ahead of it. And I had been looking at maps for about an hour or so. But the map looked fine to me. It visually, at the very least in like the 2D image, looks extremely boring compared to the others that are out there. So it has this, I mean, I gotta say, it looks way nicer in actual, like in game, it looks way better. It has this computer chip vibe going on when you look at like the top-down view of the full map. It kind of looks like a processor, I suppose, but it's just, yeah, visually not as striking as some of the other ones. Although it looks pretty nice in game. All right, let's see. Let's try to judge the map by the actual gameplay, okay? You gotta try and judge a map, not so much by its cover, but by its gameplay mostly. There are a lot of numbers out here. So we have Max Verstappen over here in the upper left. And then, ooh, right next to it, Lewis Hamilton, man. And then a speed circle in the middle of it. Abu Dhabi 2021 flashbacks. No, Formula 1. All right, anyways. It's going to be a Reaper opener here for ByuN, yet again. Command Center, all on the low ground, yet again. 74. Is there a Formula 1 driver with the number 74? There's a lot of bases. 45. 57. 55. Who's 55? I think there is a F1 driver with 55. Is it Science? Might be Science. I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know why there's numbers. Like, I have no clue why there are numbers out on the map. All right, Reaper is going to try and head across the map. Yet again, Ragnarok here will try to go for a third base, I'm sure. But he did actually fire up a gas this time around. And interestingly enough, he's only mining it with 2 drones. That previous game, by the way, I think probably, and it's hard to say, right? Because the variables are significant, but I think it probably would have ended up with a Zerg win if it wasn't for the fact that Ragnarok had 5 ultras stuck for a significant portion of the game. Like, obviously, it was 1 initially, and then it grew up to 5, but that was too much. It adds up very quickly. I think the entire dynamic was a little bit off, and the fact that Ragnarok still made it quite close despite all of that does speak volumes as to where he's currently at. Sometimes it's actually kind of funny, like when you have a bad play like it, I think every StarCraft player has experienced that, right? When you, for example, get units stuck in your base and you just don't notice it for a while, you sort of get back to it and you're like, oh, that explains it. Well, let me just, I don't know, have some fun for the remainder of the match and try to do whatever I can. And you start playing a little bit too YOLO. It's kind of what Ragnarok felt like to me in the previous match. He just started going all out as soon as he realized the ultras were stuck for a long time. And it almost worked. Sometimes you can actually get quite surprised by how powerful just attack moving and YOLOing around the map could truly be. Because suddenly the amount of aggression that you can bring out when you have 5 more ultras than you believed you would have had is kind of ridiculous, right? The amount of damage that those units deal is significant. How do we feel about the yellow squares? is very square. Except over here. For some reason, we're kind of cutting them off. You know what? This map is visually a lot more interesting in-game. Way better. I wonder what the point of the numbers is, though. Like, if it was actually Formula 1 drivers, which honestly would be kind of funny. 57 does not strike, but I guess some of them have, I don't know, some of them are kind of old school. Curious, by the way, what they're talking about. Usually it's ByuN starting to chatter. There's always a little bit of yapping going on. Man, there are a lot of speed circles, though. Speed circle and a fog wall. So a line of sight blocker in the middle of the map. It's a very curious combination. Sadly, for the Gen Alpha here, no number 67. Sadly, for every other generation, no 69 either. Like, I feel like if you plant numbers down like this, right? You gotta go 69, you gotta go 42, you gotta go 67, 9001, 420, 1337. There's so many great numbers. Oh, well. Ragnarok actually opting to go for the build that we recently saw Rogue play quite a lot, where he's going straight +1/+1 Hydras. So, you know how Serral started playing +1 armored Hydras and used them for a timing attack? Ooh, as we do have now a bunch of Hellions committing, they immediately get surrounded though by Zerglings. Yeah, it seems like the Hydra has somehow been taken back into consideration again. +1 armor seems to be the key. So this upgrade is pivotal to making Hydras work early on. Without +1 carapace, they are just no good against Terran. It just doesn't really make a lot of sense. 1/1 upgrades here. Yeah, double ranged and then Hydra speed as well on the back of it. I think you should probably go speed first. I think actually if you go ranged first, you probably anticipate Terran pushing, so you use this defensively. If you go speed first, it's probably more for offense. Yeah, so now he's going for the defense version, and indeed he plants down a infestation pit. Does this mean we go +2 missile into +2 armor? He actually goes for an attack. No, he's droning behind. I think it's... Yeah, Ragnarok here playing some funny strats. Rogue has been finding a lot of success lately. And I guess Ragnarok has been looking, or SHIN, I guess I should probably call him. I don't know. What do I call him? Anyway, SHIN has been going for, I guess, a little bit of replay studying. Likewise, just like Rogue, skipping out on Banelings until later on. Really heavy focus on Hydras and then Roaches, obviously, in the previous game. Making the quick switch on over towards Infestors, too. Seems to me like currently there's not really like one go-to build for Zerg that's considered to be best in class. Except there are like maybe 4 or 5 or so A-tier builds that are all reasonably viable. It's very interesting. Terran is going here, so the reason I'm highlighting Zerg so much here is because ByuN is doing the tried and true strategy that we have seen from Terran for about 5 years here. So triple command center opener, 1-1-1, second factory at the front. We're going to see a 4th command center here momentarily. 4th command center, +2/+2, and then 3 additional barracks. When the 4th base is set up, we're gonna go Ghost Academy. There you go, I'm predicting the future here. There's the 4th command center. 2-2 is next. We should probably fire it up, ByuN. He's busy, though, on the other side of the map, and this is exactly where those Hydras can be very strong. Still, the siege tanks are very scary. Yeah, siege tanks do deal a ton of damage. By the way, Ragnarok here doubling down on Hydra upgrades. So Ling Bane is, well, on the menu, but not for a while. Zergling counterattack here to put some more emphasis, I suppose, on this Terran push. I think this hatchery down at the bottom, though, is dead. But what about the Zergling counterattack? Yeah. SHIN here giving up on it. In the meantime, though, we have a Ling run by. Immediately, the Terran army is trying to make a beeline back. We do have a ton of Marines, though, reinforcing it. 2-2, by the way, was started up. There's barracks 6, 7, and 8 inside of the main base. And then a Ghost Academy here in a moment, I'm sure. Could be a starport as well. Second starport, that is. Either for Liberators or for Ghosts. But he needs something. Because when there's smoke, there's fire, right? When there's that many Hydras, there's very likely going to be Lurkers. And you need a counter against it. If you just go pure Marine against Lurkers, you may as well GG. Like, you may as well fly your command center to the corner of the map. Triple additional tech lab here for ByuN. +1 armor as well starting up inside of the armory. ByuN, we need to start making a switch on over to something late game. This never-ending mid-game is fine against pure Hydra Ling. But this is soon to be something else than just pure Hydra Ling Infester. Like, we're gonna get Lurkers here. Seismic Spines, that's the ranged upgrade for Lurkers, is coming up. We already have 5 Lurkers set up. He could go for the Nidus Worm approach, which is something that we did see Rogue play. Instead of just marching with the Lurkers themselves, you can bring them in a private jet or a private worm. Lurkers will probably try to tunnel on over here, though. A couple of Lurkers in this spot will make it very safe. No, he's gonna walk them. These boots are made for walking. They have... Wait, they have 5 legs each? Wait a second. Hold up right now. Do they have a wiener leg? Wait a second. They have 2 arms and then 5 legs. Lurkers have an odd number of legs? I don't know if I like the 5th leg very much, man. I guess it increases stability. Okay. Alright, I'm pausing the game again. Sorry. Maybe it's not a leg. They called me tripod in college. Fun fact. Anyways, we're gonna go into the Microbial Shroud right now on the back of this. Big fungal over here, though, shutting all of this down. Lurkers trying to get into a position. I find this very risky. Yeah, I think you guys tiptoe your 5 legs on home again. Okay. Well, the fungals are really nice. I can't believe ByuN is just not respecting Lurkers at all. Yeah, look at ByuN. We're not bothering to go... Like, we could go into a lot of counters here. The counter, apparently, to Lurkers is command centers. Fun fact. Whoa, what is the counter to fungal growth, though? Ay. Probably some antibiotics would be a good start. Okay, now we're finally starting up the transition. So, he's getting 2 starports going now. But aren't we being a little bit too greedy, ByuN? Like, what in the world do we do against Lurkers when they're burrowed in spicy spots? They may have a cursed number of legs. But we don't have a counter against those legs. I think ByuN's being too greedy. This is going to be a slow assault here on the left side of the map. How do you break this as a Terran? He saw this coming in from a mile away and ByuN decided not to address it. Are we gonna try and stim the Marines in? Okay, what about fungal though? What about fungal though? Oh, okay. Well, that's what happens, I guess. GG. Okay. And that takes us to the final game. It is best of 3, where we find ourselves on Exarch. Guys, look, I have seen one game on Exarch before, but I'm very, very displeased to let you know that the tunnels around the outside were not used. I need to see the tunnels. So this is a 4-player map, as you can see on the minimap. It is absolutely massive, and you have little tunnels going around the outside. Around the outside. Around the outside. The idea behind the tunnels is that they are worker-only paths. So whenever you have this little shimmery mineral indication over here, it means that only workers can pass through, which is a very interesting concept and one that we've only really been seeing for some time. Whoa, look at this. I never noticed the beautiful carpet here. Wait, is the carpet on the other side red? No, it's not red, it's blue. My god, they're having a great time. This I do understand. This means ha 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 ha. That's it. That's how you speak Korean. Or at least how you laugh in Korean. You just... Any key really will do. I'm just joining in. Even though I have no idea what they're talking about. Ooh. A divine beast. Wow. Yeah, so I really thought that ByuN was cooking up something special in that previous game. And that he... Because he saw the Lurkers coming in from a mile away and he did not respect him at all. I thought he had something prepared. And then it ended in the most, well, really anticlimactic way possible. Unless you're a Zerg enjoyer, I suppose. Because it ended up just ByuN dying. This map, by the way, other than just the tunnels going out around the outside, it has an interesting natural layout too. So look at this natural expanding, or this natural expansion rather. It's just weird. So there's skinny rocks over here on the sides with, again, mineral only paths for workers. So workers can pass through right at the very beginning. The rest of the Terran army here will not be able to until those mineral fields here are mined out. But and also the layout here on the 8 mineral fields, we have 4 of them, yeah, in 2 little clumps, I suppose. It does create a more symmetrical layout though, and that's one of the things you run into. So this is a cross spawn location, but as far as I know, this map should have all spawn locations enabled, meaning that sometimes you will find yourself in close air, sometimes close ground. Like, it's a bit different. I do really, really like, though, the Diablo aesthetic here, all the way around the outside. Around the outside, around the outside. It's beautiful. Very cool map. This map is made by Avex. Don't know if I already mentioned that. But it seems like all the beautiful maps in this TOMC finalist rotation are made by Avex, who really puts a ton of effort into making things look nice. Like, look at this. Isn't this kind of beautiful? Yeah, it is. Gigantic watchtower as well in the middle, it seems. Again, very pretty. I'm assuming any range or any unit, rather, that steps onto the blue carpet here will probably activate the watchtower. Maybe you're a little too far off if you're all the way on the site, but very cool. So the idea behind those worker-only paths is to make sure that you can guarantee scouting early on if you decide to send out a worker. Sadly, though, the players are mostly ignoring it. Man, maybe I need to bring out some Ashenville music when we look at this. A little bit of Teldrassil, some Darnassus. It's beautiful. This StarCraft 2 tune is pretty night elfy. Beautiful map. This middle area, though, is wide open. I'm surprised, actually, with how flat it is. Just like on Blackrock, we do get a lot of, yeah, very flat terrain here, too, although there are some more high grounds. The Overlord is going to observe the little tunnel. We do have a medevac moving around the left side of the map. There's, by the way, 2 4-player maps that are part of the TOMC finalists that both feature some sort of tunnel. The other map, I'm forgetting the name right now. But anyways, that one even has more tunnels than this one. Dude, it's gonna be so difficult to decide who wins the TOMC. I'm actually really not sure. So there will be like a player voting phase. I like, weirdly enough, I like all of them. I have no clue, man. So far, I have yet to really come across a bad map. This seems to be like another no-brainer, but because we have a load of good maps right now, it is actually, yeah, very doable that this one might not make it to the final version of the map pool next. It's kind of crazy, but there's a lot of really nice maps out there right now. It's very creative. You love to see it. Now, it's going to be Mutiling Bane right here for SHIN. So, Mutiling Bane, the most mobile unit composition you can play in the mid-game as the Zerg, and I think it makes a lot of sense on a large map especially. This map being so big really does allow you to, yeah, just use a faster moving army. You benefit from it more, obviously, when you have more space to cover. There we go. 8 flippy flappies coming up. ByuN not really opting to go for anything too much different here. Again, really just opting for the tried and true style instead. It's one of the downsides, I guess, of Terran right now. There's just not that much flavor. Like, it's there's like one flavor, and the flavor is real nice, right? But even if you have steak every day, it does get a little bit tedious at some point. We have seen some Terran players find great success with mech, but ByuN not really experimenting with it very much as of late. And in general, it seems like Terran players are not really experimenting with it very late. But I guess it's also due to the fact that that is like the slowest moving army, right? So on a map like this, it just doesn't really make sense. The larger the map, the more mobile the army, usually. I think this is going to be a pretty tough map here for ByuN with his current setup. Mutas are just gonna tear him a new one, man. There's a Widow Mine! 2 of them! Oh, God. This base is wide open. No missile turret until just now. Slow reactions here from ByuN, I gotta say. Like, ByuN got lucky in game number 1, and while he did play really well, he did need to have a bunch of mistakes on the Zork side of the map, right? And then in game number 2, he saw the Lurkers, but just didn't respect them at all. In this game, I feel like you could also be anticipating the Mutas a little quicker, and then as soon as you see them, you gotta plant down some missile turrets, but just not really respecting the Zork very much. Big Zorkling squad heading down south. Muta does indeed get destroyed, but there's a large amount of units here waiting off to the side. Ooh, Widow Mines! It's literally the same Widow Mines as previously, by the way. Oh, careful! ByuN now going back home, it seems. Widow Mine there dealing with some friendly fire. More Widow Mines here getting sniped as well by the Mutas. 88 drones in the meantime here for Ragnarok. Yeah, this is a bit of a disaster here for ByuN. I feel mean saying it, but it seems to me like ByuN is on full autopilot. Just not really focused. Just kind of playing what he always plays. And while his autopilot is better than 99.9% of players out there, this feels very uninspired. Kind of feels like we're just, yeah, we're just going through the motions here, rather than actually trying to win. Pushing deep onto creep here is going to be difficult. We should probably be destroying the rocks over here, right? To create more movement for the Zerg. Yeah, he's doing the thing over here in the bottom left. Or on the bottom left, man. This map is so large that this is actually not even remotely close to the bottom left. He's doing it on the left side of the map. You know, maybe that's actually the solution. I kind of like Mutas. I've always thought they were really cool, but difficult to control, I suppose. Maybe these super big maps, making almost like a re-entry, it seems. Maybe they can, yeah, create a little bit of variety yet again. Allowing those Mutas to be a bit more viable. Ragnarok face tanking this Widow Mine group, by the way. Oh my god, no way. Zerg players are not the brightest bunch, are they? That was literally, those 2 Widow Mines have been there since the first time he lost Mutas to it. Counter-attack over here as well. That was expensive. Yeah, and the scary thing, right, when you're going for plays like this as ByuN, is that they can very quickly turn into a one-way trip. Mutas, Zorklings, Banelings, they're all so freaking fast that it means that the Terran army will be unable to go home. Except for this medevac, left at literally 1 health. Finally, we're adding on a Thor. Look at this, man. ByuN actually losing more minerals here than SHIN has while playing Mutiling Bane. That is not how things are supposed to be. In the meantime, Ragnarok has got 101 drones. So he's got so many workers that, yeah, he actually doesn't quite have enough mineral fields for all of it. He may have to make some additional hatches. At least the gas here is still favorable for Terran. But ByuN is kind of stuck in his starting quadrant here. This isn't even Ragnarok's final form yet. He's going into Hive right now. He'll fire up 3-3. He'll probably go into an Ultra Cavern. He'll be marching all over the map. And ByuN at this point is going to... Yeah, he's going to get overwhelmed so fast. Ragnarok is going to be able to outgrow him for the next 20 minutes if ByuN does not address this soon. Already, we have bases coming up in the far bottom left, while simultaneously also more coming in the far top right. This is an alternative spawn location right over here. He's got the faster moving army. He's got really nice tech. Really, the only thing that I like here for ByuN is the fact that he's got 3-3 coming nice and quickly. He's gonna have about maybe a minute or so, 45 seconds of advantage in that regard. Is that really going to be good enough? There's the Ultra Cavern, Adrenal Glands 3-3. SHIN here making a few thousand minerals worth of gas and minerals worth of investment. Zergling counterattack. Mutas here, keeping the Terran army pinned back. ByuN walks back home again. Zergling run by, going after the +3 attack. This would be a huge snipe. Oh my god. Well, that was like the one advantage that ByuN had. In the meantime, the Mutas are tearing him apart on the right side here too. And all of this is buying time here for the Zerg player to go up to Ultras. This is 40% attack speed for Zerglings. This is obviously +1 damage on all of those units. +1 armor as well, likewise. It is a huge power spike. If he can survive until those upgrades here at Hive Tech are done, I think it's going to be nearly impossible for ByuN. ByuN knows he's on the clock. Fires up the +3 attack yet again. Goes for a command center now. He has to switch course here and apparently slow things down, but slowing things down on a Zerg player that's already outgrowing you? I don't know. I don't know. Like, you might be able to play some hatchery whack-a-mole here and there. There's a lot of missile turrets set up, so at least that's buying him a bunch of time. I think the age of the Mutas, though, is nearly over, as we're going to be replacing it with Ultralisks and maybe even some Corruptors instead. What about a 5 medevac donation? Okay, not quite. In the meantime, the Terran army in the upper right did not even go after the hatchery yet. Zerg running on over here from the far bottom left actually arrives in time before the guns even get shed or get set right here onto the hatch. Plenty of troops available over here too. Mutas decide to slip out again. New Mutas actually fire up. Chitinous plating is going to be done here in a moment. That is additional Ultralisk armor. Yeah, look at this minimap right now. It's a disaster. ByuN is still, though, maxed. Credit where credit is due. He's doing a very nice job as far as that goes. Ragnarok also getting a little bit lucky there, sniping the +3 attack, by the way. +3 armor is far less critical for Terran. Oh, ByuN. ByuN. All right. Banelink slipped through the cracks. Are we gonna respond at least? ByuN, hello. What? He lifts the... He just lifted the orbital command, but didn't pull the workers. Hello. Wow. I think he's extremely tunnel visioned right now. He's in the middle of the map as he now marches back home. What is this? ByuN, hello. Yeah, that's really bad. At this point, ByuN's defensive plan is to cross his fingers and hope the Widow Mines get magical connections. I think he's been trying to go for his all-in for the last 5 minutes or so, but he hasn't really been able to make it past the halfway point. GG gets cold. Wow. Before Ragnarok even moves out across the map, really. SHIN had been cooking up this big Ultraling Bane transition for such a long time. His plan was to throw away all of these units and then instantly remax with an even stronger army, but it wasn't even necessary. ByuN decides to rip off the band-aid as SHIN wins 2-1.